See lots of tears. And I know that's because we don't always hear how beautiful we are. We don't always know that truth about ourselves. And so this song has a way of making us feel those feelings about things that maybe didn't feel so good in our history or whatever that's about. But the truth is, you are beautiful. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not. You're worthy. You're lovable. And you see, this sort of fits with what we're talking about this entire month, because we all have that deep and holy hunger to know who we really are, to know our divinity, to know our wholeness, to know our radiance, to know the truth of who we are. And so what is true? Well, we teach it every Sunday from this platform. We hope that you will embody it in your walk in the world. And the truth is, we're human and we're divine. We are here to embrace our humanity, this incredible assignment that we've all got to walk in the world in people suits this time around. And we are here to remember the truth of who we are, to express the divinity that we have within us, throughout us, all around us, this divinity that we are. Yes, we are human beings, and yes, we are these essential beings, this essence, this something, you see, this essential something within all of this people suit stuff, and this human assignment, and all the chaos, and the human condition. There is at the core this radiance that we really are, you see. It lies within us. It is us. It's who we really are. It can't be harmed. It can never be lost. No matter what we do, what we say, who doesn't like us, what mistakes we've made, how unskillful we've ever been in life, our true essence, the radiance of our divinity, can never be soiled, can never be harmed, can never be lost, can never be diminished, can never be tarnished. It is always already brilliant, shining radiance. And guess what? We don't always remember that about ourselves, do we? Because we have these complex personalities and this very complex human journey that we are walking in the world. And sometimes what happens is this incredible radiance that we are gets sort of covered over by these quirky personalities that we call with us, right? These personalities. So I put up here an image of the Enneagram. This looks like complex work, but I'm going to be able to help you make it simple today. But within each one of us, we've all got some of those traits. We're the peacemaker, we're the helper, we're the one that likes everything just so, the perfectionist. We're the one that wants to achieve things. We're the one that is, the drama queen, the individualist, right? We're the one that likes to investigate things and find things out. We're the one that likes the rules. We like it to be just so. We're very suspicious sometimes. We're the one that loves to have fun and go on adventures and go, bungee jumping and all those kinds of things. And then we're the one that likes to be in charge and sort of challenge the system and be the one that makes all the rules. So there's some of that in all of us. Some of us have more of that than others, and we're going to talk about that today. But this is the deal. Sometimes the essence, our true essence, gets obstructed by the structures of our personality. Those personality characteristics that we've got, I love what one of the poets, the great poet, says. We've all got this imprisoned splendor within us, and it's our job to wait for the opportunity to let that reveal the truth of who we really are. And when we've got all these personality structures and all of these qualities that are getting in the way, we have to find a way to break through that so that we can actually express the truth of our divinity. Because if we don't, we're not going to be living at our highest, most awesome awareness, this I am awareness that the lyrics of Kirtana's song talked about. But what I do know is whether we've got restricted and rigid personality structures, or we've got flexible, light, happy personality structures. It's always a challenge to be a human being in the world, any way you look at it. I'd like to see a raising of hands of anybody who doesn't think that being a human being is pretty complex. Not one hand. And the reason for that is life is confusing. Life is unexpected. Lots of stuff happens without our permission. And so, as we're in our human journey, we have to embrace that human part of ourselves and figure out a way so that we can allow our beautiful radiance to shine forth. So why don't we just own our divinity and let it, oh yeah, I'm a divine being. Why don't we just own our divinity and live from that place? Well, what I know about myself, and I know it about many of you, and I think it's true of most human beings, we come from places of fear, and we resist opening to what's most real in ourselves, because there's so much stuff that gets in the way. Life gets in the way. And so our job is to let go of all that limiting perception, that limiting ideas, all that stuff. We have very sophisticated ego. The whole work of Eckhart Tolle is all about this ego stuff. We need our ego. We got to pay the bills, don't we? We have to know how to cook our dinner. Egos are very important, but what happens is our egos get unskillful sometimes, and then they get in the way, and they limit us, and they hold us back. And so we get these coping styles, these mechanisms that help us keep our ego in place, you see. We have all these defenses, these layers of defenses that we develop to cope with our life experience. And depending on what our life experience has been up through childhood, young adulthood, sagedom like me, whatever that is, we develop these coping strategies, you see, that sometimes don't work very well for us. And sometimes these coping strategies have a tendency to sort of cover over this radiance that we really are. Because we all have these default ways of showing up, and some of these default ways are depicted behind me. They're very strong. They're very strong aspects of ourself, and there can be wonderful aspects to these defaults, and there can be some very unhealthy defaults. I will share with you that I happen to be a peacemaker. I'm a peacemaker in the Enneagram, and that's wonderful. I like harmony, and I can help people come together. I also, when I'm not healthy, go to bed and cover my head and numb out. Hello, I'm an AA person. See, everything's got its beauty and its challenge. So we've got these default places, and when we know about these things, we can work with them. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. When we can find out what our coping styles are and where we place our attention, instead of showing up and making decisions from our 3-year-old self, we can make new choices based on more information. Because what happens is, if we're not paying attention to our life's journey, all of a sudden we get very identified with a set of qualities, and we think that's who we are. And we're overlooking the range of possibilities. We forget that we have other choices. We forget the truth of our being. We forget the essence that's within this human walk in the world. See, the thing is, we don't need to be any different. We don't need to be any different. We just need to refine our best qualities and bring those forth. Let those be the ones that we choose to allow to shine forth. We just have to discover and remember who we are. And when we know who we are, that we are this incredible energy of the divine, this beautiful, radiant being, our life is very different. So what does it take? Well, for myself, it takes the capacity, and it's true for you too. The key to this is to be able to catch yourself in the act. Uh-oh, there I go again, I'm off and running. Uh-oh, there I go again. We have to notice what we're doing, don't we? We've got to notice what's going on. We've got to be present. The Buddhists call it mindful. We've got to be present to the moment and mindful, so that when we see our personalities starting to get out of control or go in the wrong direction, an unhealthy direction, we can pull ourselves back, become an investigator of our own journey, become our higher selves, witness ourselves in action, watch our habits, and observe the patterns that we set in motion, where we get caught up in feelings and behaviors and habits that are not going to serve us very well. And then we can ask ourselves, wow, what was that all about? Did you ever have one of those moments? Oh my God, what was that all about? Why did I do that? What's going on here? Where did that thought come from? Whose thought was that? I don't think it was mine. You know what I'm talking about? So all of a sudden, when we begin to watch ourselves and have this higher awareness, this witnessing aspect, all of a sudden, we start to see the patterns. And when we see the patterns, guess what we can do? We can allow them to fall away. So when I decided that drinking everything was fine as long as I was using a glass in my alcoholism, and I decided that the minute I didn't need a glass anymore and the bottle was just fine, all of a sudden that pattern didn't look so good in my life. And I made a decision that maybe I should make a change and have a new choice. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I wouldn't have noticed that drinking with no glass was a problem, I'd still be doing it. Do you understand how this works? If I didn't notice that my anger causes a whole chain of events, except you see I'm a 9 and I don't get angry. I don't do anger. I don't do anger. Can you believe that? That's one of my defaults, you see, that's one of my coping mechanisms. I don't do anger. So we have to be able to see it, deal with it, notice it, see what we're doing. Stay present with the discomfort of saying, yeah, you know what, I do anger. I just don't do it the same way other people do it. I've got to understand that when I know who I am and I see myself, my personality in action, I can come from a new choice. I can make new choices, you see. And this is the deal. A lot of times I get very identified with I'm an alcoholic, I'm angry, I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, I'm not pretty, I'm too old, I'm definitely too chubby. I am all those things. Well, that's not the truth. The truth is, when anger arises, it's not me. Anger is arising. I'm not my body, even though lots of times I think I am. My body is just doing what it's doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm none of that, but when I identify with that, it gets in the way. It gets in the way. So we have to really notice, moment to moment, what's going on for us. And when we're not noticing, we're probably covering over our radiance. We're like those little chicks in those eggs. We're stuck in that shell. We're not bursting through and letting that radiance that we really are, that imprisoned splendor, come forth into the world. We have to make all of this our practice, our spiritual practice. Moving out of that shell, that hardened shell, part of our spiritual practice. So here's your invitation, giving you a how-to, a 101 on how to do this. This is the deal. You have to fully experience your divinity right now and realize that you are a living being, that you are something else besides your body. You are this incredible, indefinable thing, this something, this essence, this radiance that you cannot touch, you cannot really define it, you can know it. You've got to know that about yourself. You got to know your own divinity. When you know your own divinity, the stuff that goes on in your human life sort of slides off like your Teflon. Yeah, it happens, but when you know the truth of who you are, that you are this beautiful, radiant, lovable, worthy angel with a halo, that's who you really are, then you can let all the junk just sort of bounce off. You don't have to let it stick. You can observe yourself in action, not judge yourself, but make a new choice. You can make a new choice. You can participate in every single moment. See, the thing is, we can only know our divinity in the moment we're in right now. We're not going to know it later, and if we knew it then, it doesn't do us any good. We got to know it right now in the moment. So it's a constant mindfulness practice of remembering the truth of who we are. Remembering this moment, when life touches me, this moment, I got to remember, oh, that's right. I'm a divine being. I am a spark of the divine. I'm radiant. have to allow that imprisoned splendor to shine forth and be, regardless of how goofy my personality shows up or how unskillful, I gotta let that radiance be the thing that shines forth. And here we go, back to the lyrics of that song that we listened. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not beautiful, that you're not worthy, that you're not lovable, that you're not capable, that you're not smart, that you're not pretty. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're not beautiful. Thank you for listening.